Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. It's about that time. Let's go take that walk and see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. We got us another Christmas beer we're going to try to get out of the way. This was sent to me by Dave. Thanks Dave for sending that beer mail package. This is Thirsty Dogs, 12 Dogs of Christmas Ale. And I've actually had this. I don't think I've reviewed it, but I've actually bought one of these about 5 or 6 years ago and tried it. And wasn't super impressed at the time with it. Of course, my palate has changed over the years, and I can appreciate some of these cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. I call them like pumpkin beers, basically. But the ABV on these is just a little bit bigger, like an imperial pumpkin, if you will. But from the time September rolls around to the first of the year, the pumpkin beers have these spices and the winter warmers and the Christmas ales, and they all dive into this nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon bandwagon. So the only difference is the Christmas ales a lot of times and the winter warmers will be just a little bit stronger ABV, sort of like an imperial pumpkin, if you will. But anyway, let's get on with this one and see where we end up with this. It's been quite a few years since I've had this, and like I said, I don't think I've reviewed it. So we're going to right now. Alright, commercial description on this one. This beer name sums up the ideas of bringing the best together to celebrate. It is filled with seasonal flavors from generous amounts of toasted and caramel malts, mixed with an equally generous amounts of honey, cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. We feel it is the perfect libation filled with flavors of the season. And like I said, from the end of September to the 1st of January, that is the season for this style of beer, and there is a flood of them on the market, guys. Everybody's on the pumpkin beer bandwagon, the winter warmer bandwagon, the Christmas ale bandwagon, and they all basically, to me, taste very, very similar. So, with that being said, let's see where this one ends up. It says 8.3% here, and that's what it's got here on this one. And it says IBUs is 21.5 right here on this. So, not a very bitter beer. Should be a very sweet beer with a lot of spices in there. Don't think there's anything else there we need to talk about. IBUs is told. I don't know if the bottle actually has a date. The card that Dave sent me doesn't have this bottle listed on there, so there may be a date on there. I looked, it's right out of the fridge, there's condensation on the bottle, you can't see it. So we'll look again when we come back and see if there's a date on it. I'm pretty sure it's this year's edition. Food pairs for this, it says general dessert, meat is poultry and game. Glassware is pint, becker, non tumbler. I've got the same glass that I had yesterday. That's the tulip style glass that Paris sent me. I really like this glass. It is super heavy. I think this is as heavy as the big taller Duvel glass, or heavier. I mean, it is so thick glass on this. I love it. It is a great glass. The beer is not recommended for extended cellaring, so you should drink these when you get them. I don't know what would deter this from being cellared, whether the spices would fade out over time, or exactly what would happen, but they're saying don't cellar it, so drink it fresh, guys. I like the cap on this. Thirsty Dog, and it's got the dog carrying a beer mug. I like that, so we need to put that on the fridge downstairs. Alright, let's get it in the glass, guys. Down the center, real aggressive pour on this. And from what I've seen, these winter warmers don't pour a very big head, even when you pour them down the center. Not quite a finger of head on that. I don't expect it to stick around very long. This one is basically exactly the same color as yesterday's. The very top part of it, where it's really thick part of the glass, it looks like it's a ruby red. I can't see the bulb right through this. It's a little clearer than yesterday's beer from Fatheads. But underneath in the bottom part, where the glass is thinner, it looks like it's amber colored. That is really wild how the different thickness of the glass and the different amount of beer between here and there changes the color of the beer. It almost looks like a black and tan where you got half and half. It's red from this part and amber down here. Very wild. I really like this glass, how it does that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a trick on your eye. Well, it's a different color on the bottom of the glass than it is on the top of the glass, but that's just the way the light hits it and the thickness of different colors between that much beer and this much beer in the glass. So, very interesting optical delusion. Let's get a nose on it. As you can see, the head is gone. To me, this one doesn't have as much cinnamon in the nose as the Fathead ones did yesterday. I am getting some cinnamon, but it's a little more subdued than yesterday. Yesterday's Fathead, man, was just cinnamon off the chain. Ginger, allspice, everything's a little more subdued in this one. There is some honey in there. There is a nice sweetness to the aroma. But it's just not like a cinnamon cracker right up the nose. A little bit of ginger and nutmeg in there. But everything seems to be a little balanced in there. So, on the nose anyway. So let's see what the taste brings, guys. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Dave. Thank you, brother. Yeah, everything is a little more subdued on this one than the Fatheads. Very well made beer, just like the Fatheads. I'm not getting much of that alcohol. At 8%, I mean, I've really got some boozy beers at 8.3% before. So this is a pretty well made beer to be hiding that much alcohol. Now, I've had some really boozy beers at 8% before. Everything is really subdued. The nutmeg, the ginger, the cinnamon, the honey's there. It's got a nice sweetness to it. It seems to be balanced out. Nothing's outstanding more than the other ones. But let's right out of the fridge at 40 degrees. Let's let it warm up. We'll let her taste it and see what she thinks of it. And we'll come back and we'll do the final chug after it's warmed up for about 20-30 minutes. And see where we end up with this one. Seems to be a little more balanced than the Fatheads, but you could also say it's a little more bland than the Fatheads, because it really had a lot of stuff going on in that beer, where everything's probably mellow in this one. Depends on how you want to look at it. I'll be right back. We'll do the final chug. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. This one is a little more subdued, a little more mellower than the Fatheads that we did yesterday. Everything is kind of, I don't want to say bland, but everything is more subdued. The cinnamon, the ginger, the nutmeg. If you don't like those big flavors in your winter beer, this may be a good candidate for you, because everything is kind of on a lower key here, and nothing is standing out more than the other. So, but the alcohol is not there. It's warmed up, and I'm still not getting any of that 8%. So it's a well-made beer. I looked at the bottle when I came back, and there is no date on it. I'd kind of like to see that. I really would. Now, Dave sent me a card here, and it's got some of the other beers bottled on date, but it doesn't have this one on the list, and it doesn't have it on the bottle. So I'm just assuming that it's this year's edition, but it's really hard to tell. If you're going into the store and you pick this up off the shelf, I mean, how are you to know that it's this year's or it's last year's? kind of need that information from these guys. So let's do the final chug here. It's got such a massive tulip lip on it. It's hard to get that last little sip out of there. It's a decent beer, guys. It really is. It's definitely a tasty beer. Not to the A category as far as I'm concerned. But it is a well-made beer. Everything's a little more subdued. If you don't like those big flavors, like I said, something on a little lower key, but still has the alcohol to get you there, this may be a good candidate. A little disappointing that it doesn't have the dating on the bottle. So to me, it's a B plus beer in a B bottle. And that's what I'm going to give it. I don't pull any punches on these beers, guys. So it gets a 6 from me, which is a B. A decent beer, but nothing outstanding, nothing to write home about. So let's go over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 89 in their very good range. And over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says overall 80 and 89 in the style. If I was putting a numeric rating on this one, it would probably be somewhere around the 85. So you take the 80 and the 89, you average them together, and you're about at 85. So that's where I'm leaving this one. The Thirsty Dog 12 Dogs of Christmas Ale, definitely above average, but not quite to the A category. Wish it had a date on the bottle. It got just a tad better score from me. It got the B+, but it does not. So it gets the B from me. So if you've had this one from Thirsty Dog, the 12 Dogs of Christmas, let me know what you think, guys. I think we got one more Christmas ale in there, and we're going to try to dig that out tomorrow. So if you got time, come on by. We'll see what we got in there together. See you then.